Guys, Daryl here at B&D Netherland Dwarfs in East Tennessee, up in the mountains here. And I have a lot of people that send me messages, or you see a lot of people ask the questions about raising Netherland Dwarfs and why this happens and why that happens. Well, I've been doing them, this is going on 6 years now, and I raise nothing but dwarfs. I don't claim to be good at it. I don't claim to be an expert at it. We have rabbits that are extremely beautiful, and then we have some culls that make great pets. We do a little bit of it all. I mean, that's the only way we can do it. I don't have the heart to put them to sleep just because they're not perfect, and I'm not going to do that. I'd rather give them somebody that will love them and appreciate them for just being a pet as far as that goes. But a lot of people, they get into the Netherland Dwarfs because they're tiny, because they're cute. And the biggest things they don't realize is when they get into raising Netherland Dwarfs, all of the situations and the problems that goes along with them. You sell a pet rabbit or a nice little dwarf to somebody, and most people that buy them, unless they're in the rabbit business, want to buy them 9 times out of 10 for their kids. And kids are so used to seeing cartoons where the rabbits are fed carrots, or they see pictures of rabbits eating the strawberries and everything, big plates of junk food and everything. That might be okay for a big rabbit like a New Zealand or a Flemish giant, but that's one sure way to kill a Netherland dwarf. They just can't do it. They have to be real hickey about what they eat. You have to restrict their food. You can't just pour a great big bowl of food in there and expect it to be fine, because it's not. They'll overeat and they'll bloat themselves, and next thing you know, you go out and your rabbit's killed over dead, and you're like, well, what happened? Well, or you'll want to give it a bunch of carrots or a bunch of cookies or everything under the sun that you're not supposed to give them, and that doesn't work neither. They're so tiny that their digestive system is tiny too, and I pretty much put mine on an extremely restricted diet till at least 4, 5, 6 months old, just depending on how they grow up. And the next issue, people message me and say, well, how come all my babies died? Well, first-time moms with Netherland Dwarfs, in my experience, 9 times out of 10, you will lose the first litter. Unless she's a good brood doe, you will 9 times out of 10 will lose them. Now, a good show-type doe, you may breed her 3 times, 4 times, and she may lose them every time. But she will eventually, if you're patient enough, get it right. Just because you breed her twice and she fails, don't give up. If you like the rabbit, if she has good type, good temperament, then give her time, give her tries. Worst case scenario, if you sold that rabbit, you can always turn her back around and replace her with somebody that's worse than what you had, or you else will save a kit and say, well, I'll just raise this kit and get rid of that one. That works fine. But in the meantime, you're waiting 6 months, 7 months before you can breed that kit. So in that time, you could be retrying the doe that failed. You could retry her several times as far as that goes. So keep that in mind. People want to know, well, how come my kits turned out half dead, stretched out? Some of them are deformed, some of them are not deformed. Some are big, some are little. Well, the nicer dwarfs that you get, the worse problem you will have with kits. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. You take and put 2 true dwarfs together, and you're going to have peanuts. You may have max factors, or the doe may be too small to have them, and she may stretch them. I've seen them as long as a foot long before, just trying to get them out of her cavity. And so that's not a good thing neither. It is part of it. As far as mating, they can be some of the stubbornest little critters you've ever seen in your life. I try to keep my does close to my bucks. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have found the best method that I have for getting my does to breed and don't laugh is get her out and glove on her and pet on her and rub her belly and rub her back real good. Talk to her real sweet and put her in the buck, and 9 times out of 10 she'll breed. I know it sounds like a joke, but it's a fact. But summer ears, everybody, all the specialists say that there's no such thing as summer ears. Well, I'd like for somebody to come to my barn sometime and let them prove that to me, because I have several rabbits that have big ears, and both parents, great-grandparents, and great-great-grandparents had tiny ears. These rabbits were born in early July when it started getting hot, and had tiny ears to begin with. Now they've got big ears. I can breed rabbits in cool weather, and I never have that problem. It is a known fact that rabbits use their ear, the blood vein in their ears, they twitter their ears to cool the blood in their bodies. So naturally, they're going to have bigger ears. I agree for you to agree with me, or I even agree for you to disagree with me. That's just coming from my experience, my learning, and like I say, I'm no pro at it. People says, well, you don't know nothing about dwarfs because you don't show. Well, at this time, B&D has dwarfs in 19 or 20 states in the United States. That says something. We're doing something right, or that many people would be willing to pay to ship my rabbits to them. Sure, we don't get the great big money out of them that a lot of people get, but we're not in it for the money. We're in it because I love rabbits. The biggest thing is if you get you a good rule book that gives the perfections of the dwarf, all the guidelines. If you follow those guidelines, talk to people who do show, there's no reason why you can't raise a showable rabbit. Showable doesn't mean that it will win. Showable means it has no disqualifications. There is a big difference. And for anybody that gets into it, you've got to have a heart. You've got to love it. Most people last 6 to 9 months, and then they're out the door and they're gone. It's just too much trouble for them. Well, it's not really too much trouble. Right now, I can't walk to save my life. My knees are shot. I've been dealing with a bad hip now for almost a year, and they tell me that there's no replacing it. My knees need replaced. My hip needs replaced. I'm in constant pain 24/7, enough to be taking my oxycodone and whatever else I can find to null the pain, and it still doesn't help. I get to the barn about once every 2 days. If it wasn't for my wonderful wife and my brother-in-law, I don't know what my rabbits would do. Thank God for friends and family. I may not be here next year, so I'd like to leave a little something, a little legacy for all the people that are getting into the dwarf business. I want to give a great big shout out to all the people who have bought rabbits from us at B&D. Without you, we couldn't be successful. We look to having all kinds of beautiful babies coming up here in about 2 months. Everything goes well. We didn't breed in the summer this year, mainly because of the ears. And it might have been a mistake. It might not. I'm not sure. But I just wanted everybody to know we want to thank all of you out there that look at our page, view our page, follow us on Facebook. We appreciate that and want you to continue. We're not out of the rabbit business. We just simply haven't got any kits going on right now. So I hope this message is helpful to someone. I don't mean it to be a guideline. I don't mean it to be actual facts. I'm just telling you my experience, and that's the best I can do. So I hope you enjoy it. Hope you watch it till the end. God bless you all, and thank you. Darrell at B&D Netherland Dwarfs.